The sky above Orion 6 was burning. Red fire streaked through black clouds. Explosions shook the ground. The air smelled like smoke, melted steel, and blood. In the middle of the battlefield stood Captain Aris Vena, the most feared warrior in her galaxy. Her tall frame was wrapped in dark, shining battle armor, smooth and silent like a second skin. Her face was hidden behind a golden visor. Her armor was made from the hardest alloy ever built. She was called the Iron Valkyrie. And she had never been beaten until today. Her soldiers fought behind her, but they were tired. The enemy, the Ruthari, were creatures of heat and rage, claws like blades, breath like acid. They screamed as they charged. No fear, no mercy. Eris raised her hand. "Hold the line." Her voice echoed through the battlefield. She charged forward, faster than a cannon blast, crushing 2 Ruthari under her boots. Her blade hummed with energy. She cut through armor like paper. Her armor protected her. Her power core inside the suit kept her going for days. But then suddenly something went wrong. The armor flickered. Her visor glitched. The heads-up display went black. Then everything shut down. Eris fell to her knees. Hard, her limbs wouldn't. No, not now. She pressed buttons on her arm. Nothing happened. Her weapons didn't respond. A Ruthari slammed into her from the side. She rolled across the dirt, helpless. Another jumped on her back, claws ripping into her armor plates. Sparks flew. Her system stayed dead. "Armor! Reboot!" she shouted. Still, nothing. She was trapped. Powerless. She saw her soldiers fall back, confused, scared. Their leader, their unbreakable Valkyrie, was down, and the Ruthari were closing in. Eris tried to crawl. Every movement was pain. Her breathing grew heavy. She reached out toward her fallen blade and stopped. Her fingers shook. Her strength faded. She had lost. As the smoke grew thicker, the enemy gathered. A large Ruthari commander stepped forward. His armor was red, his claws long. He raised a weapon made of fire and aimed it at her chest. Eris stared at him, teeth clenched, but she couldn't move. Her suit was dead, her body frozen. This was the end. Then, boom! The commander's head exploded. The other Ruthari jumped back. Another shot, quick and precise, hit the second warrior in the eye. Then silence. From the wreckage of a crashed starship nearby, a figure walked out. Not tall, not armored, not alien. A human. He wore simple gray clothes, stained with grease and smoke. A heavy tool bag hung at his side. He carried a small plasma rifle, but it was clear. He wasn't a soldier. He was just a man. He walked slowly through the fire and bodies. He didn't look scared. He didn't say a word. He reached Eris, knelt beside her, and checked her suit. His eyes moved fast, scanning every wire, every crack. "What are you doing?" she gasped. He didn't answer. He opened a panel on her back and pulled out a burned-out power crystal. She felt a jolt, weak sparks, but still no movement. The man stood and walked back into the wreckage. Eris tried to shout, "Hey, who are you?" Still no answer. Minutes passed. Then he returned, with wires, metal chips, and tools in both hands. He sat beside her and started repairing her. Sparks flew. He welded pieces of old starship metal into her chest plate. His hands moved like he had done this 1,000 times. His face was calm, focused. Eris stared at him. He was human. She knew their kind. Weak, wild, often loud. But this one was different. He worked like a surgeon and stayed silent like a ghost. The Ruthari began to gather again in the distance. Aris watched them grow closer. "Leave me," she said. Still, the human kept working. "You'll die," she warned. He didn't. "Stop." Then, her suit blinked. One light, then another. Her visor lit up again. Core rebooting. The armor hummed. Her fingers twitched. She could move. The human stood and backed away. Eris rose slowly, energy returning to her limbs. She picked up her blade and turned toward the enemy. "You fixed me." She looked at the human. He gave a small nod. Still no words. Then he stepped back into the smoke, disappearing into the wreckage. Aris stared ahead. The Ruthari charged again. This time, she was ready, and this time, she would not fall, because someone unexpected had made her whole. Again, a human, who saved a warrior the galaxy feared. Smoke still filled the air. Ash covered the broken ground where Captain Aris Vena stood. Her armor systems were running again, just barely. The lights inside her helmet blinked red. Warning signs flashed across her visor, but she was alive. Because of him, the human, the quiet one. Aris scanned the field. No Ruthari remained. Their bodies lay still in the dust, cut down after her systems came back online, and now she stood in silence. Alone, except for the sound of metal being hit. Clink, clink, clink. She followed the noise back to the wreckage of the ship. Fire crackled near the broken hull. A wing was half buried in the dirt. Old Earth symbols marked the metal. Inside, she found the human again, bent over a table, fixing something. A long wire hung from his mouth. A glowing tool buzzed in his hand. He didn't even glance at her when she stepped in. Aris raised her weapon. "Who are you?" No answer. "Speak, human. You touched my armor. You saved my life. Why?" He finally looked up. Calm, quiet eyes. Not angry, not afraid. Then he pointed to her chest plate and held up a shattered power cell. His voice, when it came, was soft. "Because broken things should be fixed." She lowered her blade slightly. "You're a mechanic?" He shook his head. "I'm an engineer." He turned back to the workbench. Aris stepped closer. The ship's interior had been turned into a workshop. Wires ran across the ceiling. Energy cells were stacked neatly in crates. Old Earth tech sat next to alien circuits, mixed, merged, improved. "You did all this with junk?" He didn't. "Look back. It's not junk if it still works." She stood quietly. This man had no rank, no armor, no soldiers. And yet, he had repaired what her own army could not. "What's your name?" she asked. He paused, then said, "Eli." Aris removed her helmet. Her face was sharp and proud, pale blue skin with dark markings, worn like scars of honor. Her eyes watched him carefully. "Eli," she said, "I am Captain Aris Vena, leader of the 7th Legion. We were winning, until my suit failed." Eli nodded once, still working. "It wasn't built to last in this heat," he said. "Your system fried." She frowned. "You knew this from just looking at it?" He smirked, barely. "I knew it before you fell." A sharp silence. Then she asked, "Why didn't you stop it earlier?" Eli finally turned. "Would you have let me touch it?" She didn't answer. Because he was right. He walked to a wall panel and pulled out a fresh power core, modified from the crashed ship's systems. It glowed green with stable energy. He held it out to her. "This one will last longer." She took it slowly. "You don't seem like a soldier." "I'm not," he said. "I build, not destroy." Outside, the wind picked up. A low growl echoed from the mountains. Aris's armor flickered. She winced, still weak. Eli noticed. He grabbed a nearby chair and gestured. "Sit." She raised an eyebrow. "You're giving orders to a commander now?" He met her eyes without fear. "You're still leaking voltage. Sit down, or I carry you." Aris sat. She hated to admit it, but she was tired. Eli moved behind her, opened her backplate again, and began resealing damaged circuits. His hands moved with care, no fear, no hesitation. "You've done this before," she said. He nodded. "My unit crashed on Derek's 4, I kept 3 suits running for 2 months. Where's your unit now? He paused. Gone. The silence felt heavy. She didn't ask more. He didn't offer more. But something passed between them. Something unspoken. Pain. Loss. Understanding. When Eli finished, he stepped back. You'll be at 80% by morning. Eris stood slowly. She moved her arms, flexed her fingers. The suit felt stronger, quieter, more responsive. This is better than factory. Eli shrugged. Human parts, alien tech. They match better than you think. She looked at him. You're not just an engineer. He didn't deny it. I fix what matters, he said. As the sun set, Eris stood outside the wreck, helmet under her arm. The stars blinked above. She'd lost the battle, but gained something else. Not a soldier, not a weapon, a builder. A human with no armor, no command, and no fear, and somehow, he was exactly what she needed now. Rain tapped softly on the broken ship's roof. Inside, sparks danced in the dark. Eli knelt beside the open chest plate of Aris Vena's armor. Wires from old Earth systems were connected to alien ports. Glowing tubes from human engines now pulsed. Inside a suit once powered by the stars, he was rebuilding a war machine. But it wasn't just a machine anymore, it was becoming something new. Aris sat nearby, watching quietly. Her helmet rested on the table. Her armor was opened from the back like a shell. She wore a light black undersuit. Her arms crossed over her chest, face hard but curious. You're changing the design, she said. Eli didn't stop. I'm making it better. It's not human tech. Not anymore, he replied. Now it's both. She stood and walked over. The armor had new shapes, angular and sharp, not smooth like before. Parts from the Earthship had been merged into it. Guidance chips, emergency shields, stabilizers made from shuttle brakes. None of it matched. And yet, it all worked. You don't just repair, she said. You redesign. Eli nodded. Because surviving means changing. He turned the armor around and pointed to a small symbol carved into the backplate. Half of an Earth gear, half of her Legion's sun mark. I made that for you, he said. It's ugly, Eris replied. He smirked. Then it fits both of us. Outside, thunder rumbled across the sky. Far away, flashes of light signaled another battle, one she couldn't return to yet. Not without her armor, not without full power, and not without knowing who she could trust. She sat down again. Tell me something, human. Name's Eli, he corrected. Fine, tell me, Eli. Why are you still here? You could have run after I got up. Eli didn't answer right away. He tightened a bolt, twisted a wire, then finally said, Because I've run before. And I hated what I became. Eris didn't speak, because she understood that too well. He picked up the rebuilt arm module and offered it to her. It was heavier than before, stronger, more balanced. She slid it on slowly. The connection clicked. Her visor lit up, smooth, fast, no errors. She lifted her hand and flexed her fingers. They moved like water. This feels different. It is. Why? She asked. Because I built it for you, not for war. She looked at him. Noticed the calluses on his fingers, the small scars across his neck, the tiredness in his eyes. This man had seen too much for a mechanic. You ever kill anyone? She asked suddenly. Yes. Do you regret it? He met her gaze. Only the ones I let live. That made her pause. Because that was something only a soldier would say. And yet, he still built things, still saved people like her, still chose creation over destruction. Hours passed. The armor was fully rebuilt now, taller, tougher, faster, a perfect fusion alien shell, human core, something new. As Eris powered up the full suit, her body surged with energy. Feels like I've been reborn. Eli packed his tools. Good, because the ones chasing you won't wait. She turned to him. Then stay with me. He blinked. What? You said you fix what matters. Yes. Then come fix this war. With me. He didn't answer right away, but after a long pause, he nodded once. All right, Valkyrie. Don't call me that, she said. Why not? Because I'm not who I was anymore. She touched her new chest plate over the symbol he made. Now, I'm something we made together. Outside, lightning split the sky. The storm had returned, but this time, they were ready to walk into it, together. The wind howled across the canyon. Dust spun in tight circles like warning signs written by the planet itself. Cracked stone peaks rose around Captain Eris, Vena, and Eli, forming a narrow path between two dead mountains. But Eris wasn't afraid. Not this time. Her new armor, part alien, part human, moved with perfect balance. Every step felt lighter. Every breath came smoother. She could hear the hum of the rebuilt power core, stable and strong thanks to Eli's work. You sure this shortcut is safe? She asked. Eli, walking beside her with a scanner in hand, replied, Safe? No. Faster? Yes, she smirked under her helmet. Good, I've waited long enough to test this. They didn't have to wait long. A low growl echoed from the cliffs. Then came the shriek of thrusters, Ruthari hunters, fast and deadly, dropping from above with wings made of bone and steel. Ambush. Eris barely had time to draw her blade before the first attacker slammed into her. She rolled back, armor absorbing the hit. Sparks flew as claws scraped across her new chest plate, but nothing broke. They found us, Eli shouted, ducking behind a stone outcrop. Eris stood, calm and focused. One hunter leapt at her. She sidestepped and slammed her fist into its gut. The human-forged servos in her gauntlet amplified the hit. Bones cracked. The creature flew backward. The suit worked, and she smiled. Two more rushed her from opposite sides. She jumped high, higher than her old armor ever allowed, and twisted, mid-air. Her boots landed on one enemy's head, smashing it into the ground. The other tried to strike her mid-spin, but she extended her arm. A hidden pulse blaster, made from an earth plasma coil, fired from her wrist, direct hit. Eli watched from cover, wide-eyed. She was dancing between death and fire, not just surviving, leading. How's the feedback? He called out. Better than good, she shouted. Feels like I was born in this armor. A hunter crept behind him. He turned, too late, but a silver blade flew over his head, slicing the enemy's neck. Eris landed beside him. Stay close, she said. You break easy. He grinned. Not as easy as you think. The last wave came. 7 Ruthari hunters, bigger, stronger, armored. Eris tightened her fists. The human systems in her armor synced with her heartbeat, reading her muscle tension, feeding her more power where needed. She took one step forward and charged. The canyon turned into chaos. Dust clouds, screams, plasma, blades. Eris spun, sliced, leapt and smashed through every attacker. When one pinned her arm, she activated a magnetic pulse built from Eli's salvage tech that ripped the enemy's weapon out of its hand. She caught it mid-air and used it against him. One hunter got close to Eli. This time, he fought back. He grabbed a broken thruster coil from the ground, aimed it, and overloaded it into the hunter's mouth. Boom, smoke and blood. Nice, Eris said, looking back. Told you I don't break easy. The battle ended in silence. Only wind moved now. Eris stood among the fallen, armor glowing, not a single break in her plates. Eli walked beside her, wiping sweat from his brow. You did it, he said. We did it. She looked at her suit, still humming gently. The fusion of alien design and human invention had passed the test, but more than that, she had changed. She wasn't the cold commander anymore, and Eli wasn't just a silent engineer. They were becoming something stronger, together. As they left the canyon, Eris spoke without turning her head. You said you build things that matter. Yeah. This armor. This mission, this war, she paused. It matters. And so do you. Eli didn't smile. He just nodded once and kept walking. In the shadows of the cliffs, a hidden drone recorded everything. A voice whispered through its speaker. Somewhere, far away, she survived. He rebuilt her. The Iron Valkyrie lives again. The stars above looked peaceful, but Eris Vena knew peace was always a lie. She stood on a high cliff, her new armor glowing softly under the moons. Below her, the last signal flare still smoked, the one she had sent to her command base days ago. She had expected rescue. What she got was silence. Beside her, Eli sat cross-legged, adjusting a stolen communication panel. His hands moved fast, but his eyes were calm. Signal's bouncing back, somebody's blocking it, he said. Eris clenched her fists. Then someone doesn't want me heard. That night the ship arrived. No warnings, no transmissions, just a silent descent from the clouds, sleek, black, royal class. Her people's colors. Eli stood up slowly. That's yours? Eris nodded. It was. 5 armored guards stepped out. They looked like statues, cold, perfect, emotionless. And behind them came High Advisor Taryn, a face from Eris's past. He bowed slightly. Captain Vena, or should I say traitor? Eris didn't move. I asked for help. You bring judgment? Taryn stepped forward. We came to collect what belongs to the throne. Your armor, your mind, your loyalty. His eyes turned to Eli. And him, the one who corrupted it all. Eli's jaw tightened. Eris stepped between them. He saved me. Taryn smiled without warmth. He modified military tech with outlaw systems. Human tech. That makes him a criminal. He brought me back from death, she said. Then he delayed your destiny, Taryn replied. The throne doesn't need machines patched with scrap and weakness. The guards raised their weapons. Eli didn't flinch. Eris's blade was in her hand before they blinked. Try it, she warned. You'd strike your own? Taryn asked. I don't see my own here, she replied coldly. I see cowards hiding behind orders. Taryn stepped back. He waved his hand. A 6th figure stepped forward. Commander Vel, Eris's former second-in-command. You trust this human? Vel asked. Over us? I trust the one who bled for me, she said. Suddenly, one guard turned his gun and fired. The plasma blast hit Eli in the shoulder. He fell back, with a cry, gripping the wound. No! Eris shouted. She rushed to his side, shielding him with her body. He's unarmed, she screamed. Taryn tilted his head. He's human, that's worse. Eris stood slowly, face like stone. Her armor lit from shoulder to toe. The fusion core pulsed with rising energy. This armor? She said. You want it? She stepped forward. Then take it. The ground cracked under her boots. The guards hesitated. Even Taryn stepped back. Commander Vel raised his hand, but Eris was already moving. She used Eli's hidden boosters, installed in the boots, to launch herself forward. She knocked 2 guards down with a spin kick, slammed a 3rd into the ground with her forearm shield. Vel raised his weapon. Eris struck his arm, breaking the rifle clean in half. Taryn turned to run. Eris threw her blade like lightning. It pinned his cloak to the ship's ramp. He froze. She walked to him, face inches from his. Tell the throne I'm not theirs anymore. And tell them this armor. She touched the chest plate. Was never just mine. She returned to Eli. He was bleeding but alive. She dropped to her knees. Can you move? He nodded weakly. Not fast. She lifted him in her arms. Then I'll carry you. They vanished into the jungle once more, leaving behind Royal, lies and broken chains. From the ship's edge, Commander Vel watched them go and whispered to himself, She chose the human. She chose him over everything. The ruins whispered. Old walls crumbled under vines. Metal towers leaned like ghosts, half swallowed by the jungle. Once this was a city of light, Thaler Prime, a stronghold of Eris Vena's people. Now it was nothing but broken stone and silent memories. But Eris wasn't here for the past. She was here to prepare for the future. She carried Eli through the rusted gates, blood still fresh on his shoulder. They found shelter inside an old command bunker. Its roof was cracked, but the walls still held strong. A table, a chair, some tools, just enough. Eris laid Eli down gently. He tried to sit up. "Don't move," she said. "That wound needs sealing." He groaned. "It's not the worst I've had." "But it's the worst you'll ever have again," she snapped. She removed his shirt. Burn marks ran across his side, and the impact had bruised him deep. Still, he smirked. "You carried me." "You carried me first," she replied. She used a med sealer from her boot kit. The wound sizzled but closed. Eli didn't flinch. "Why here?" he asked. "Why bring us to this graveyard?" Eris stood and looked out the broken bunker window. "Because this place was once mine, and I know where the weapons are buried." For the next 2 days, Eris didn't rest. She dug into walls, opened old vaults, and powered broken systems using Eli's generator cells. She found drones, mines, reactive plating, all forgotten by time. Eli watched her work, his body healing, mind racing. "You're turning ruins into a battlefield." "No," she said, "into a message." "To who?" She looked him dead in the eye. "To the throne, to the people, to the world. That the Iron Valkyrie still lives, but not for them." Eli sat up one evening helping her rewire an old turret. His fingers moved slower, but his mind was sharp. "You've changed," he said. She kept working. "You think so?" "The Eras I first met only spoke in orders," she smirked. "And now?" "Now, you talk like someone with hope." That night, under dim lights powered by scrap, Eris showed Eli the final upgrade. A new armor module, hand-built using Earth's power conduits and Thalorian shielding tech. "It links to your suit," she said. "If I fall, it alerts you. And if I don't make it back, it self-destructs." Eli stared at her. "That's dramatic." "That's war." He looked at her. "What if I don't want you to fall?" She said nothing, but her hand rested on his chest for a moment longer than needed. Then, movement. A flash in the jungle. Sensors beeped. Drones approaching. Fast. The throne had found them. Eris grabbed her blade. Eli grabbed the detonator. Time to show them what Scrap and Rebels can do. The jungle exploded with traps. Mines Eli buried beneath roots ripped open the first wave. Drones fell to net blasters. Eris moved like lightning, armor glowing, blades spinning, her feet lighter than ever in the hybrid suit. One drone broke through. Eli tackled it, jammed a power cell into its core, and kicked it into a wall. Boom! He coughed from the smoke. "Told you I'm not just a mechanic." At the end, only silence remained. The drones lay dead. The trees smoked. The air buzzed with energy. Eris stood in the center of it all, armor cracked but glowing. Eli walked to her, limping slightly. "They'll come again." "Let them," she said. "We'll need help. We'll inspire help." She raised a comm beacon, patched into the old war net, and sent out a signal. Not as a captain, not as a queen, but as a warrior reborn. The message was short. "This is Eris Vena. I do not kneel to the throne anymore. I fight for those who are thrown away. Join me, and let the galaxy remember what it means to resist." Somewhere far away, rebels heard, old allies, broken soldiers, hidden builders. They turned their heads to the stars and whispered, "The Valkyrie has risen, and she's not alone." The stars above Thaler Prime were no longer silent. Ships moved in orbit, fast, dark, and deadly. The throne had arrived with full force. Destroyers, drop pods, elite warriors in pure royal steel. But they came not for a war. They came for one rebel. They came for Eris Vena. And this time, she was ready. In the ruined city below, fires were lit on every rooftop. Makeshift turrets hummed. Drones buzzed through the smoke like angry wasps. Old walls stood tall once more, patched not by royal hands, but by scavengers, rebels, and one silent human with a toolkit. Eli stood on a platform rewiring the central power grid for the last time. His shoulder still ached, but his hands moved steady. Eris walked up beside him, fully armored. Her new battlesuit gleamed, its hybrid design, complete. It wasn't just armor, it was a symbol now. "They're coming with everything," Eli said. "Let them," she replied. He looked at her. "You sure you want this to end in fire?" She looked back at the city. "No. But if it must end," she turned to him, "then it ends on our terms." The sirens wailed. The enemy had landed. Drop pods smashed into the ground like thunder. The first wave charged. Eris raised her blade. "Positions!" And the last stand began. Royal soldiers moved in squads, shields up, weapons locked. But they didn't expect drones bursting from rooftops, didn't expect trip mines hidden in statues, didn't expect a human rewiring plasma cannons mid-fight. Eli used an old Earth launcher made from a broken starship engine. Every shot sent 3 enemies flying. "That's for my shoulder," he muttered. Eris led the front line, blades glowing, her armor boosting her speed beyond normal limits. Her hybrid systems made her faster than any Thalorian warrior. Stronger too. Every hit she landed sent a message. This armor was rebuilt, and so was I. Commander Vel returned, leading the throne's elite guard. "You betrayed your blood," he shouted. "No," Eris replied, "I saved it." They clashed, blade to blade, steel to steel. Sparks lit the air. Vel fought with rage. Eris fought with purpose. Her human-crafted boosters kicked in mid-strike. She twisted behind him and drove her blade through his side. He dropped, defeated. Across the city, the tide turned. Rebels poured from the tunnels. Exiled captains, runaway builders, alien farmers with stolen guns. They had heard the call. They came not for Eris the captain, but for Eris the forged. At the city's heart, Eli stood on the central tower, activating the final protocol. A shockwave pulsed through the ruins. Every defense system came alive. Turrets fired. Drones locked targets. "System green," Eli whispered, and smiled. The throne's fleet began to retreat. Ships pulled back. Officers screamed orders. Panic spread. They came to crush a rebel. Instead, they faced a legend. Later, when the last blast faded and the smoke cleared, Eris stood atop the tower. Her armor cracked, her blade scorched, but her eyes burned with victory. Eli stood beside her, dirt on his face, tools still strapped to his back. They looked out over the battered city, still standing. The people cheered, not for a throne, but for a woman who chose a human, for a human who chose hope, for 2 who built something stronger than blood or empire. A new flag rose over Thaler Prime, half alien sun, half Earth gear, bound together. Journalists would ask later, "What do we call this movement?" Eris would say, "Call it the Reforged." And when they asked her who rebuilt her armor, she would look at Eli. "He didn't just fix the suit," she'd say. "He rebuilt me." And so the story spread, of the Iron Valkyrie who fell and rose stronger with human hands, of a war that ended not with a king, but with a mechanic.